Before we start, please watch my previous video. The link will be in the description.
I talked about Christine Whelchel because of the rare tiebreaker Jeopardy game. I also briefly went over her cancer story. Originally, I planned to talk about the unfortunate coincidence I noticed between her and former Jeopardy winner Brayden Smith. Christine went through surgery the same month Brayden was commemorated in the 2021 Tournament of Champions. There was actually a lot I left out of that video just by posting it in July, 5 months after Brayden's passing. I plan on doing a second video on that just because there was a lot I didn't get to. Such kind and beautiful souls. When Christine removed her wig after her second appearance, I thought of doing a video on her run on Jeopardy. Ken Jennings' introduction after Christine won was, "If you missed yesterday's show, you missed a thrilling tiebreaker." Then the clip was shown before Ken mentioned he got the feeling Christine hopes for less drama on today's show. On top of being a piano teacher, she also plays violin, and she played violin for her Lamas. Lucy ended the first round winning $1,400, Anne was in second place at $3,200, and Christine was in third place at $6,800. All three players got a daily double, and all three players answered incorrectly on their daily double. Anne made it a true daily double, risking $1,200 and went down to 0. Christine risked $3,000 and went down to $5,400. Lucian risked $4,000 and went down to $3,400. By the end of Double Jeopardy, Christine was in the lead at $12,600. The final Jeopardy category was fictional families. The question was, introduced in the 1930s in The New Yorker, they have appeared on TV and Broadway in live action and animated films. The only answers I thought were Charlie Brown and Dennis the Menace, except 1. Neither of them were centered around family. 2. Neither of them were introduced until 1950. And 3. Neither of them were on Broadway. I don't even think there was a live-action Charlie Brown. The answer was the Addams Family. Da-da-da-da. 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 Lucien was the only one to answer correctly. Christine left it blank, wagered $2,000, and went down to $10,600. She's at a two-day total of $44,600. The following game, Ken Jennings introduced her third win by mentioning it was a runaway, therefore less nerve-wracking than the tie game in the previous episode. For the second game in a row, there was an unusual story about animals. Teresa Donahoe was a teaching assistant in a town infamous for putting a pig on trial. This time, Christine was not in the lead by the end of Double Jeopardy. She was in second place at $11,500 in what's a fairly close game that only gets closer after Final Jeopardy. The Final Jeopardy category was awards. That's actually a very common Final Jeopardy category. How many times have I said that? Quite a lot, right? The question was, these awards have a retro version, and winners include the novel The Sword and the Stone and The War of the Worlds radio broadcast. The answer was the Hugo Awards, which Teresa and Christine answered correctly. Yes, these are the awards for science fiction and fantasy that occasionally go back and give retroactive awards to years before their 1953 founding. Teresa wagered almost all and went to $14,799. Christine wagered $3,501 and went to $15,001, winning $1 more than Max, who answered wrong. Christine was at a three-day total of $59,601. She returned for her fourth game, and here's when I felt obligated to do a video on her. Ken Jennings' introduction was, "A lot has been written about the super streaks we've seen in season 38, but ever since our 40-day champion Amy Schneider lost 23 games ago, it's been a very different story. In that game, we've had 7 contestants win a single game, 2 win a couple each, and 4 contestants, including our returning champion Christine Whelchel, have won 3 in a row. Does that mean today is the turn of Joe or Ellen to become a new champion? Or will Christine become the first 4-day winner since Amy?" I actually predicted Christine would win 5 to 7 games. So I posted that video about Emma Salzberg, Lawrence Long, and Dave Rapp winning 3 games. I almost did a video on Emma's reign because I thought she'd also win 5. Actually, there were other moments I found interesting during her reign, which I'm still thinking of talking about. I also mentioned Jeopardy fans were supporting Emma, Lawrence, and Dave. It's great to see the amount of support for Christine, which only increased tonight. Whether she'd win again or not, it was definitely worth mentioning Christine won 3 games, even more if she won 4. Before I get to Christine's anecdote, I thought Ellen Pratt's milestones revolving around crossword puzzles was intentional. Then when I went to listen to it again, it was coincidental. Yeah, so I started doing crossword puzzles when I was in elementary school and really grew to love them. So I got asked to senior prom in a crossword puzzle. I wrote a business school application essay in the form of a crossword puzzle, and then my current employer wrote one for me to entice me to accept my job. Ken asks, are you saying that if you ask someone to prom in a crossword puzzle, they might say yes? Ellen answers, especially if it's only a 3-letter answer, yes. Asking a girl to prom always has to be creative. Ellen was asked in a unique and creative way, a skill I wish I had. I couldn't ask girls to prom. Everyone around me was already in a relationship. Christine Whelchel, we remember as a piano teacher and church organist from Spring Hill, Tennessee. But if you watched last week, you might notice that Christine looks a little different today. Tell us about your look. So I also noticed she looked different. I noticed the hair and everything, except I thought she did her hair in a ponytail. I was only glancing at the screen and the brightness was low, and this was in her final Jeopardy, so she was looking down. Christine answers, after the winnings, I decided that I didn't need to hide behind a wig anymore, and I wanted to normalize what cancer recovery looks like. Ken tells her she looks fabulous and congratulates her on her recovery. She had difficulty speaking as soon as she answered. There was a pause between after and the winnings. After the winnings. Christine does look fabulous. Such a beautiful and lovely story. This one's support for Christine only increased. The comment I posted was, you could tell Christine had a hard time in the beginning of her interview after the commercial break today. Broken heart emoji. Such a beautiful story. Sparkling heart emoji. I couldn't stop smiling after hearing it. Such a kind and beautiful soul. Hug emoji. Christine got 2 of the daily doubles. The first was early and one of the easiest daily doubles. She waited $1,000 and that took her to $1,200. Ellen got the first daily double in Double Jeopardy. She bet $1,600, answered correctly, and went to $6,200. Christine got the second daily double in Double Jeopardy, risked $3,000, unfortunately answered wrong, and went down to $7,000. By the end of Double Jeopardy, Christine was in the lead at $11,800. Ellen was in second place at $7,000, and Joe was unfortunately still in the red. The final Jeopardy category was Modern War. The question was, called the longest siege of a capital in modern history, the assault on this city lasted from 1992 to 1996. I was thinking about the Gulf War, I just couldn't guess the country. The answer was Sarajevo. Christine answered correctly and won that game. She wagered $2,201 and went to $14,001, and was now at a 40 total of $73,602. Ken Jennings introduced tonight's game, mentioning Christine won 4 games as she charges toward the Tournament of Champions in November, which is funny because after Amy Schneider passed Matt Amodio for the second most games won, Ken told her she's already thinking about the Tournament of Champions. Christine just won her 4th game, and he's already thinking about the Tournament of Champions on her behalf. Again, I love the amount of support Jeopardy fans and Ken Jennings have for Christine. Here's what's really funny. On Monday's game, I was asking myself if Ellen Pratt's life revolved around crosswords. Why didn't she try out for Merv Griffin's crosswords? The very next game, there was an anecdote about Merv Griffin himself. Stefan Stenders is a technical engineer from Aliso Viejo, California. Has achieved his Jeopardy dream today. You're on the show today, but this is not your first Jeopardy connection in your family, right? Tell us about your grandmother. He answers, yeah, absolutely. So growing up in the Bay Area, she actually went to high school with Merv Griffin, who was the creator of Jeopardy. Ken asks, do you feel that gives you a leg up if your grandmother was schoolmates with the creator of the show? He answers, I feel like enough time has passed where the advantage has gone away, so it's pure luck and skill at this point. Ken ends by telling him, it may still be in your chromosomes, we don't know. That would have been so cool if he and Ellen played the same day. There would have certainly been a crossword theme in the mini anecdotal interviews. And another crossword coincidence in Ellen Pratt's life. I wonder how she would have felt if she saw this air, the episode after she appeared in. While the anecdotes didn't follow a crossword theme, it did almost follow a Jeopardy theme. Margaret Shelton, a homemaker from Pittsburgh, also apparently has some Jeopardy in her DNA. You were a fan of the show even as a little girl, right? She answers, I remember the first time I got a question right, that my father did not know who was my hero and the smartest person in the whole wide world, and I like that respect. That he was like, how did you know that? How did you know that? So I definitely wanted to be on here from that moment. Ken ends by telling her, that's fantastic. That's been quite frequent this season. There was Andy from Goodlon's story about Jeopardy being her favorite show from when she was 8 years old, and she wanted to be a contestant at that time. When she was 8 years old. To quote Angie, Yeah, when I was 8, Jeopardy was my favorite show, and I was very impatient to become a contestant. So my parents suggested I write Alex Trebek a letter and ask him to make a kids' Jeopardy, and this was before there was one, and he wrote to me back. He sent me a postcard that I brought him for show and tell, and said he hoped that I would audition when I was older. Maya and Alex told her, "We're really glad you're here. I'm that much more glad to see her on Jeopardy after hearing this." There was Connie Smith, who has a long history of being a Jeopardy fan.
Alex tells her, "You have a long history of being a Jeopardy fan." Connie goes on to say, "Absolutely. Before I was old enough to go to school, my grandmother used to watch the show when it was on in the daytime with Art Fleming, who was a host before Alex, and I used to watch when she was folding the laundry. I'd sit on the floor and watch the old black and white TV." Maya then tells her, "Well, we're glad you're here." This clip was posted on their social media.
And there was Nancy Donauer, who saw live taping of the show in the 60s.
"You're a devoted Jeopardy fan. What is one of your most beloved Jeopardy memories?" Nancy tells her, "I started watching Jeopardy in the 60s when it was filmed in Rockefeller Center in New York, and one of the highlights of my young life was when my mom took me in to watch a taping of the show. Art Fleming was host and Don Pardo was the announcer. It was great." Maya asks her, "How does that compare to the experience you and I are having right now?" Nancy answers, "That was very exciting. It still doesn't seem real to me."
I love how all these stories connect. Christine's anecdote was about an unusual memorial of a restaurant that was torn down. The end of Single Jeopardy was rather close. Margaret was in the lead at 4,800. Christine was in second place at 3,400, and Stefan was in third place at 3,000. The round got even closer in the first few minutes of Double Jeopardy, as the contestants were struggling on the TV show by last episode category. Christine got both of the daily doubles in Double Jeopardy, which had its ups and downs. The first, she bet 2,000, which took her score from 6,600 to 8,600. She answers the next question wrong and goes down to 7,400. She answered the following question correctly, taking her back to 8,600 when she got the second daily double in Double Jeopardy. She risked 2,000 again, unfortunately answered wrong, and went down to 6,600. Margaret ended Double Jeopardy winning 13,600. Christine was in second place at 10,600, and Stefan was in third place at 1,000. The final Jeopardy category was a silver screen. The question was, he was the first actor to star in 3 films that won the Oscar for Best Picture, those of 1934, 1935, and 1939. It's Clark Gable. Obviously 1939 to be Gone with the Wind. I think the other 2 are Call the Wild and It Happened One Night, if I'm not mistaken. The answer was Clark Gable, and those were the exact films that were correct. That's the most successful I've ever done in a Final Jeopardy round. All 3 contestants answered correctly. Christine bet 4,000, taking her to $14,600. Margaret wagered 3,000, and that took her to 16,600. What would have been funny is if Christine wagered 6,000, leading her to a second tie in her run. I'm gonna miss Christine. We go from one beautiful contestant to another. Margaret looks amazing. She's dressed almost exactly like Cindy Zhang, who played earlier this season. They both wore all black, and they both wore similar types of glasses. Christine was such a wonderful contestant. I know a lot of us especially are gonna miss her. The day after she lost, Ken Jennings introduced the game, hinting Christine may have a chance to appear in the Tournament of Champions. Margaret went on to win 2 more games as of writing this. Both are such wonderful contestants. Congratulations to both. I want to take this in for just a moment. First of all, Christine looks fantastic with and without the wig. Second, she was a fantastic contestant also, and I love the admiration Christine's fans had throughout her run. She'll, of course, be one of the most memorable champions. Christine seems rather humble, and I admire how confident she was on her third game by removing her wig. She had a great run, and we'll see her again in the Tournament of Champions, which Ken confirmed when he introduced the game after Margaret won. Ken Jennings' introduction was, our new champion, Margaret Shelton, pulled off an impressive win in yesterday's show, defeating a strong champion and a 4-day winner, Christine Whelchel. There's a good chance we'll see Christine again this fall in the Tournament of Champions, but in the meantime, let me welcome Christine Ujjal to the show. Congratulations to Margaret. I miss Christine already, yet I admire Margaret already, and I look forward to seeing her further potential wins. Congratulations to both.
And as always, thank you for watching.